Hi, everybody. Welcome to day three of the mastermind. Blah, 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 blah. You're back. And Keith has a question for me. We're going to start right there. Go ahead. Sorry, Keith.
That's all right. So I believe we're going to do pop-ups today. Is that right? That was the
Yeah.
plan?
Yeah, we'll
Right.
talk about that.
So we're going to do an air fryer sequence, and the pop-ups will be category based. So they'll just appear on air fryer because we're a recipe blog. So we're going to just appear on air fryer category pop-up pages. So it'll pop up and it'll say 5 things you didn't know you could make in your air fryer, right? So the 5 recipe links that we're writing around, if they've already gone to, let's say they're already on that one of those 5, like air fryer bread, let's say they go there, they get a pop-up and we're saying 5 things you didn't know you could make. Well, obviously they know they can make that one because they're on it.
Yeah.
So how do we set it up, or is it possible to set it up so that if someone goes there and signs up, that they're not getting an email which is like day one bread, which they've just looked at?
Yep. I understand the question. The answer is it's doable, but it would be probably more development than you want to do. That's not worth the time or energy. A simpler solution would be to make your roundup more roundup-y. So yeah, it might be number one in there, but you've got 3 to 4 other suggestions in there. So they'll never once go, oh, I was already on this recipe page, because they're going to see that one. They're just going to scroll the next one and see the other suggestions.
So the plan was for that first welcome email was going to be include a link. Should we not include a link and just make it a pure welcome with like 3 or 4 links in that one? Because I'm trying to just keep it very simple and just say, here's the one link we want you to click on
Uh-huh.
in that first email. Because I think once you get that first one, they're going to be much more receptive to the other ones. That's
Yeah.
all I'm trying to get my head around.
Right.
If you don't think it's that, like from your point of view, it's like they're not going to really worry about it because emails, they don't treat emails that seriously anyway. As you know what I mean? They're not
Yeah.
going to panic
Yep.
about, oh my God, I've already seen that one.
Yep.
And as long as I got a little footer that says, P.S. tomorrow we're doing X, and you haven't seen that one yet, then that's what you're trying to achieve. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair. So a couple of points. Um, with what I found is that usually people are just looking for more inspiration. So if they're on the air fryer, tater tots, and then air fryer tater tots is number one there, but air fryer bagel bites is number two, and so forth. They're going to be like, you will never get anybody hit reply and say, I already saw the tater tots. They're just going to go right to the bagel bites, and they're going to go, oh, that's interesting. I've done
Right.
this I don't think this is an exaggeration, hundreds of quick start guides, and nary a complaint about that. I think that you want to add more variety. You're solving one problem. The one problem that you're solving is make these snacks, make this for dinner, make this treat. But when you give them 3 to 5 options for snack, dinner, treat, you're accommodating their different taste buds, their different dietary needs, their different what they have in the pantry. So my suggestion would be just try something like that, each one be more of a roundup style, and I think you skip over this issue
Yeah.
altogether.
Okay. I think I was, yeah. Okay. I was with the roundup style. We were just, I guess we had this conversation, my wife and I, because we were just sort of thinking, um, we wanted to be so specific to just one recipe to try and drive traffic to
Yeah.
stuff that slowed down, and we want to try to make sure that we're not diluting the pool too much.
Yeah.
But maybe we just do the first one is more of a roundup, and then the 4 other ones are very targeted to, because we obviously with air fryers you can do, we can be very specific. There's meat, there's bread, there's cakes, there's, we
Yeah.
can pasta, we can break it up that way. Anyway,
Yeah.
sorry to take everyone else's time.
No, I
Um,
don't. I'm guessing that other people have that same exact question, so I'm glad that you covered it. Um, and I want to just piggyback on that thought for just a minute. I think the conversation you and your wife were having is a very interesting one, because email can serve a lot of different purposes. One of the purposes that theoretically it can serve is to give a little boost, a little pop to some recipes that maybe are underperforming from an SEO perspective. I don't have any hard data on this. I've heard anecdotally that it can serve as uh, a signal to Google that there's this trickle of traffic headed its way, and therefore it's relevant. Whether that's exactly true, I don't know. My personal bias is to think about the journey. We're going to talk more about journey building here in just a moment, and um, think about the journey that your new subscriber is going through. Martha doesn't know you at all. Your best opportunity for, this is like, it'd be nice to solve perhaps SEO concerns. But I think your biggest opportunity, it's like eating your vegetables. What's going to taste great in the moment versus what's going to keep you healthier longer,
Yeah.
is have that new subscriber have the best possible experience related to what they're thinking about.
Yeah.
Not saying that you weren't doing that. I'm just
No, no, no. I'm just
uh,
as a very quick aside, and again, I'll shut up in a second. But I'm sure if because everyone else is with Raptive and is probably going through this, especially if they're food bloggers, because of Google's updates in the past 6 months, traffic is it hasn't died, but it has dropped by about a third
Yep.
because of AI. And so Raptive's been saying newsletters, emails, these are the ways forward because you want to build a community with a group where you want to engage with them outside of the garden of Google. You want to make sure you have that relationship with them as much as possible. And we haven't done it. Everyone else we know that's a food blogger has already done it. So we feel like in a way we have the benefit of being able to start from square one. We had a very small list, never put the effort into building it. So we're looking at this as a way to, this is a whole new kind of group or a new approach to engagement. So
Yeah.
I think this is incredibly important, but I want to make sure I'm doing it right. And I took your point yesterday of saying, perfect is the enemy of done. So we just have to get it going
Yeah.
and see how it goes and then adjust accordingly. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Fantastic.
yeah,
Yeah, you're not alone there. I think everybody on this call has probably got that in their sights as well. So, all right, fantastic. Hope that helps. Let's dig into what we're going to do today. First, anybody want to brag? Anybody get anything done yesterday that they feel good about? All right, Sabrina, what you want to tell us?
Oh, there we go. Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, I got it up on the site and a couple days ago, this felt really daunting. So thank you so much for breaking it
Good.
down into actionable steps. Um, I definitely think going forward, like I have a lot of ideas how I could make it better by creating more content buckets around some of my top performing posts. Two of my top performers, I don't have a ton of stuff around, so I'm going to build that out so that I can do some quick guides for those. But yes, I got it up live on the site. Me and Samantha checked out each other's and subscribed to each other's. I also subscribed to myself to see, make sure I didn't miss things on the thing. But I also looked through your email crush, the one on getting it out because I'm with Kit as well. And so that really walked me through, and it was kind of fun to play with the buttons and the colors and stuff. So um, yeah,
Okay, cool.
super stoked to have it live. Thank you.
Any subscribers besides Samantha?
Nope.
Okay, so we're going to talk about that today. You've done the hardest part. Let's call it hardest part number one. Hardest part number two will be the how do we get it in front of people so that they actually sign up. So we're going to
Yeah.
talk about that when we talk about pop-ups and forms and some other things here in just a moment. Um, and my offer to all y'all is when you do get to that point and you have a form set up and you would like some feedback on it, if it's not performing well, let me know because I've seen, oh, I don't know, 50,000 of these in the last 2 weeks, maybe. And so I have an opinion on what might work better for you because that's a whole new set of, it's almost like advertising. We got to grab their attention for a second. So anyway, kudos for getting it done. Looks like Samantha followed your lead or you guys pulled each other along. That's wonderful. And then Stephanie rocking it. New category specific quick start guide out there.
Yep. Yep. I already got like 10 subscribers. And I went up
Nice.
today like a 5. So
Awesome.
yeah, it's awesome.
How did you choose your category to do?
Um, So I do copycat recipes. So it was just like the next restaurant that I like, oh, well, maybe I should do it for that one. And I did. So
Nice. Okay, excellent. Good work. I love that. So I, this is stating the obvious, but what Keith and what Stephanie are doing with the category approach is a conversion rate optimization play, right? You have somebody landing on your website, not not all interested in the same things. We are all different individuals. We have different needs. We're there for different reasons. Some are diehard air fryer people. Some people are there looking for a slow cooker recipe. Some people love the cheese fries at Outback Steakhouse, whatever it may be. And when you can show them other things that are related to what they're looking at, your conversion rates will go up. And so, uh, if you also do not have a site-wide dealio, let's get that first. So you want to at least, if you're not capturing email subscribers as a whole, the category approach is a great place to start. But at bare minimum, at least show it to everybody, because even the people who didn't Google air fryer may have an air fryer. I know that's not perfect, but it's better than not having anything at all. And then when you get a more general approach, you can relegate the air fryer to the air fryer category, if that makes sense. Hope that helped one of you. All right, Louise, ready to launch. Love it. Okay, excellent work, everybody. Great stuff. If you are still stuck, and I know Sylvia, I saw a message from you. It looks like you're in progress.
Yes, I think I got the idea down. I don't know if you had a chance to take a look, but I've only done day one, but I think that's the hardest one, just to
Yeah,
do day one and the rest just kind of follows. But
very true.
yeah,
Yeah, I took a quick glance. It looks like a great start.
yeah,
Just maybe go back and rewatch just a couple of moments from yesterday's thing on where some feedback that we had for other people, especially the first one, whoever might, I think, who was that? I can't remember who that was.
Jessica maybe?
Jessica, yeah, that's right. We
Yeah,
spent a
yeah,
lot of time on Jessica's.
sure.
So here we go. We'd spent so much time on it. She did not come back. She's like, forget this, never again. Um, all right, let's get into today's topics. Got a lot to cover. But some real gems in here. All right, so the idea here is that up to this point, you have created a quick start guide, you've added a form somewhere, and you started to capture email subscribers. Here's kind of the idea of what I talked about yesterday, this cookie cutter generic program, if you're looking for one. And today, I want to talk about what you might send seasonally, and what you might talk, and this concept of the Forever series. All right. Before I do, I had a question yesterday about this, and via email, and then one of you just said something that made me think it might be worth doing. I'm going to show you very, very quickly, because this is foundational to what we are building going forward. Inside your email marketing platforms, we have automations. One of the automations that we can do is a sequence or a series. I think Flowdesk may call it a workflow. I believe that MailChimp may call it an automation. So inside Kit is the platform that I use. I just want to show you, I know this may be elementary, but I want to make sure everybody understands what we're talking about here. Inside of Kit, you have the ability to craft your message here, this is a ridiculous message. It leverages a template here. The very first email is right here, okay? And you can see that we have lessons 2, 3, 4, all in here. And this is just, placeholder garbage. Over here, you can turn them on, turn them off. You decide, when does this go? The first one, I suggest, goes immediately, right? With a quick start guide in particular, because Martha just signed up for it. She may forget very quickly that she did. And so that first one should go as soon as possible. Then after that, we simply do after 1 day. You also have the ability to switch to hours. And if you, for whatever reason, don't want something to go on a Friday, I don't know, you can do that in here too. These are movable. They're not set in stone, but they are set, but you can move them around. And when you're creating an email, it's just like, I don't know, it's just like WordPress, where it's like text, you can do headings, You can insert images. Oh, I don't know. There's not enough pictures of this, so that needs to go there. All right. So see what I'm saying? There's different layouts that come with it. You can do these are features particular to Kit, but it gives you an idea of how you might build something out. All right. So that's simply what a sequence does. You turn them on and off, and we're going to be referencing this concept a lot going forward. So I just want to make sure everybody saw this. If you want to learn more about Kit, hit me up and I'll explain it. But here we go. So let's talk about this concept that I just love, love, love. I believe that this is not hyperbole. I believe in this wholeheartedly. Your ability to create content has served you so well. And you have created so much content that you made it all the way to Raptive levels. And so that tells me something about you. You've been doing this for a little bit. My guess is that your content catalog is not just limited to 1 or 2 pieces. My guess is that you've got a lot of really great content. So today we're going to talk about how to put your best stuff on autopilot. This is James Clear. He's the author of Atomic Habits. Anybody read that book? Have that book? Most people at least heard of it because it's been a bestseller for many years now. And I discovered James in 2017. This was his blog back then, and it was all about making myself better, personal improvement, that sort of thing. You know, his blog was also accompanied with a newsletter, and so I signed up for that newsletter. And here are the emails I received in July of 2017. You can see them all right here. They kind of 1 per week plus the occasional insert. Here's what this looks like to me on this end. It's all new to me. Okay? I have not consumed any of James' content. This is kind of like with Keith, folks are newish to this altogether, as most of your, statistically speaking, most of your readers are new to your content. Here's what it looks like to James. I went back and I looked at each one of these articles to see when did he originally publish it. What he does in his newsletters is he simply links you to an article on his blog. So these first 2 down here were some sort of welcome. But then the very first one, focus on this instead. He had originally published that blog post in October of 2013, 4 years previous. And then the next one, 1 week later, was a year old. Then he threw in a newbie, but then after that, 2015, 2016, 2015, this one was several months old. So you see what he's doing here. And who does he think he is? Pawning off his old content on me. What am I, a sucker? Come on. Well, look at what this flagship cornerstone piece of content. It must be important because it's the first real one that he sends. Focus on this instead. Not goals, but what? Habits. What's his book? Atomic Habits. James has been talking about habits for a decade or more. He didn't need to recreate the wheel, but it's still new to me. Now, my son, who's in his 20s, when he gets in and he starts reading about habits, when my granddaughter, when she gets old enough to read and starts reading about habits, will that information be obsolete? Not habits. This is timeless information. So does he need to reinvent that wheel? So I want you to think about this. Imagine that you've got some of this new to your website, to your channel, your Instagram, whatever, and they like your stuff. So they sign up for your newsletter, your quick start guide, what have you. And every week they get your very best stuff. This brings them back to the blog or whatever channel you'd like them to go to. And over time, because you're becoming their subject matter expert on this topic, their admiration for you grows. They tell your friends, they buy all your things, you get the private yacht. This is how it goes. Okay? It starts with this sequence that I call a forever series. Now, you may have heard this term being bandied about, forever series, in the past. I coined this term back in 2017 when I got into blogging and realized that bloggers were not doing this. And I didn't invent this concept, but I didn't see very many bloggers, if any, doing this at all. Here's how it works. It's just a sequence where you're just thinking through the journey. You're identifying the questions they're going to ask and then providing the answers in the order that makes the most sense. What you do is simply identify your best messages and put them in the right order, decide on how frequently they should be sent out, and when something new comes along, you drop it into the right spot. So if you come up with something new, what could James do with that new blockbuster article? Well, he could put it at the end of the series. He could put it at the beginning of the series. He can just insert it into. You saw how the sequence thing worked in Kit, right? You can add and move things around. You can put it in the middle. You can swap things the order if you decide that the order isn't quite right or they're not performing the way that you think that they should. It's about crafting a journey. If something stinks, you yank it out. It doesn't kill the whole thing. You just move on. Okay? So I hope that you get the general idea here. A very specific implementation of this was my Disney-related website. Do you remember that whole quick start guide with what to expect on your first Disney cruise? Well, that was not the end of our infinite wisdom on Disney cruising. Oh no, there was more. And so email number 1 in our Forever series, we sent them every Sunday. We send them every Sunday still. Email number 1 was the most powerful Disney cruise tip I ever learned. And we start with that because it's legit our best piece of content. It's like when you're dating and you put on your best pair of jeans on the first date, all right? Because trying to make a great impression. So the best stuff first. Week number 2 is the Disney cruise packing list. Everybody needs to know what to pack. Week number 3 is how to avoid getting seasick. Week number 4 is what happens on Disney's private island, and so forth. You see the logical progression. Now, by week 30 or 35 or something, we've gotten a lot of that big, important stuff out of the way. We've got this total fluff piece that I created one time when I was in content creation mode. We were going on a cruise with the kids, and my wife likes to put together, used to put together playlists to listen to the car, to get all jazzed up about that. Anyway, so she put together this playlist. And so we just shared what is the perfect playlist to drive from the car to the ship. Total fluff. Who cares? But that's email number 35 or something like that. When you're 35 weeks into this journey, by this time you've discovered that Matt and Alicia probably know what they're talking about on all the other stuff. And so, okay, now I'm more interested in, as I have progressed in my knowledge, I'm more interested now in this little nuance piece. What is that for you? Now, I know we have a lot of people who are into food here. Not everybody, but many. With food, it may be a little bit more challenging. There isn't so much of a linear progression of things to share like you might with Disney Cruise. But you are the one that should understand your readers. And you should be able to identify what their life is like related to your subject matter. What are they most worried about, concerned about? What would solve their problems more readily? And then you lead them where they should go next. So I love this because it saves you time. You write this content once, you drop it into an automated series, and it just runs. I mentioned that the Forever series for the Disney Cruise for Picture the Magic is still running. The answer, that is true. And we have completely abandoned that website. But yet, emails are still going out. All right? Which means that we're getting a little bit of a trickle back of traffic as people come and explore the topics. It's fantastic. I haven't touched them in literally in years, some of those emails. So, Forever series. Not a dumb question. Does the Forever series continue off the Welcome series? Am I understanding correctly? This goes on for as long as you can. As long as you can stand to write them, as long as you can think about the journey. Because in my world, let's go back to the Disney cruise example. What happens if I stop after week 6? They're just not going to get week 7. But if I send week 7 and they've been opening up to that point, are they likely to open number 7 as well? The answer is yes. So you're training them by delivering your awesomeness in the order that makes sense. It's not necessarily a replacement for your other emails, but if you thought about if you had nothing else going on, you would feel great that week over week, your new subscriber was led to where you want them to go because you thought it through. You didn't just react because today we made the barley bean maple syrup soup and I'm putting it on the website. Because who cares about barley bean maple syrup soup when you have chocolate chip cookie recipes? Yet a lot of people prioritize the barley bean maple syrup soup because it's new. But if I'm creating a journey and I want my reader to fall in love with my recipes, I should put forward the recipes that are going to lead me to success. And that's why this automation, this series, this sequence can work so well for that. I have clients who have 2 years worth of Forever Series emails put together. I have clients that do a full year, that's 50 some odd weeks, and then they just loop it. They start it over. Why? Because somebody's not likely to remember my favorite nostalgic recipes that you posted exactly a year ago. Let's talk about email math. Did we already have this conversation? No? All right. So what's a good open rate? I always get asked that. Well, the answer is better than whatever you've been doing. We can't really compare each other, okay? If you're doing gluten-free, that's different from air fryer. If you're doing air fryer, that's different than baking. If you're doing baking, that's different from fast dinners that are, they're easy to make, all right? The more specific you get with your topic, open rates are going to be higher because people need that more. Your click rates are going to be higher because people need that more. My friends that have gluten-free blogs, they enjoy higher open and click rates than generalists. That makes sense, right? So, but I will give you general guidelines. Let's say that you're in the 30 to 50% open rates. That's pretty good for food. And let's say your click rates are 2 to 4%. Let's say it was even 10. Let's just dream a little. That means that 50 some odd percent or more never opened it on any given send, and 90% plus didn't click what you had in there. This is why it's okay to repeat stuff. People don't remember. It's also, because I'm talking to so many people with food, you also can get away with sending more emails than errors can. All right? The machinists are not going to tolerate a daily email. But I eat a lot. Sometimes 3 times a day. I hate to admit that in front of everybody. And so my consumption of the content is greater than what Air is going to have with machinists. Okay? I probably couldn't send with the Disney cruise daily unless they were right up against the cruise, right? Otherwise, it would be too much. Can you have a few Forever Series? So the reader opts in what's for a series title and a theme best fit for them. Absolutely, you can. So basically what we're doing with a sequence like this is you can create a rule or an automation that says air fryer, send them to air fryer quick start guide. When they complete air fryer quick start guide, drop them into air fryer Forever Series. That's exactly what I do with the Disney cruise. As a matter of fact, is I have a general Disney Forever Series because we also do things like coloring pages and Disneyland, and so I go after general Disney interest. But then there's the separate Forever Series that's specific to the Disney cruise. So that's exactly what I'm doing, Sylvia, and you can too. By the way, think about the ramifications of this for a second. And I know I'm spending too much time on this. I'll move on. I'm telling you to write a year's worth of Forever Series, but I know that you won't do that. So what if you wrote 5? What if for each of you that just created your new quick start guide, if you have the content for it. So maybe at Super Golden Bakes, you want to have a general newsletter where you're sending all of your stuff. But what if you created just 5 weeks for the air fryer specific person? Let's walk through that journey for a minute. Somebody comes to the website because of Google or Pinterest or whatever, lands there, tries the looks at the air fryer recipe long enough to see the pop-up, joins the air fryer quick start guide, gets 5 days of great recipes in a row. And then for every week after that, for the next 5 weeks, they get another air fryer suggestion. That is our best bet for getting clicks. Why? Because we know they have an air fryer. Now, who's going to do that? Who's going to take the time to do that? I will tell you your competitors do not do that, but you can. You saw how quick it is to make these emails. It's a matter of diving in, digging in. I think Jessica asked me a question about batch work. I don't have an exact answer for you, Jessica, because everybody's a little bit different about what works for them. But imagine this for a second, where you just set a goal. Could you bang out 5 emails written as long as those quick start guide emails, but instead have them be more evergreen for your Forever series? For those of you who are stuck on Forever series topics, let me give you some ideas. Number 1, think about social proof. My favorites, my family's favorites, my personal favorites, the recipes I can't stop making. Highest rated, fastest to make, simplest to make, under 30 minutes, most popular. This went viral. I stole this from my grandma. You see all the social proof and all that? And guess what? You can do that for all my recipes. You can do that for all my cookies, for all my tacos, for all my cakes, for all my insert category here. You have tons and tons of content for a Forever series right there. You can do a full year's worth just off of the stuff I just gave you. Oh, Keith, yes, sir.
Sorry to interrupt. That just typing it kind of makes me crazy. Going back to your point about someone signs up for the air fryer email, and then they get their 5, and then you create the rule that shifts them to a sort of generalized air fryer. In your opinion, is it better to do that, or is it better to shift them to a generalized, hey, look at what else you've got on the log email? Because I'm always wary about, start with the specific, but then give them the general, because they may not explore beyond those individual things. Air fryer is fairly niche. They might get bored of it. It's not going to be there every day. So I'm just trying to figure out, strategically, would it make more sense to try and shift them to a broader picture and say, by the way, we have 10 years of content on this site. Here are the 5 most popular ones, although that's going to be our default overall one. So I'm just trying to get my head around the idea of that journey. Is the better journey to go specific to specific, or is it better to go from specific to general?
Great question. And I can't answer that directly for you. All I can tell you is when we know know more about our audience, we have a better chance of serving them something that will help them. That's why I feel like your best bet, if you were optimizing for them making the next thing, or clicking or opening or reading, you at least know that they have an air fryer. And so continuing to serve them as long as you can with air fryer stuff increases your odds, I think, of getting clicks.
Okay. As a follow-up question, I think Kit allows people to sign up based on categories if you want to do it that way. In other words, they could opt in to say, I just want to hear about X, Y, and Z. I don't give a crap about the rest of it.
Yeah.
I haven't got there yet with Kit because I'm new to it, because I was on MailerLite and that's garbage. So I'm trying to figure out how I work to that level of a sort of advanced automation. Is that, in your mind, is that something that's worth pursuing, or should I just focus on the Forever, the general, and then the category-based stuff for the time being?
That's what I would do.
Okay.
Yes, to Stephanie's point, you can do this in Preference Center. It's a little complicated. because basically you have to give everything a label for that subscriber that says, we're doing Meatless Mondays. If you want to unsubscribe from Meatless Mondays, click here without unsubscribing from the whole list. And so you kind of have to identify these things that they can opt in and out of, and then figure out your rule set for that. I don't love doing it because it's a little bit more complicated, a lot more complicated. Um, Stephanie, that's probably why we never got into that. In my course, I do have a hack. It's a little bit of a workaround because I didn't actually want to address the preference center. I know I need to, but it's just so involved, and everybody's is so different. Because you may want them to get 3 a week, and Stephanie may want them to get 5 a week, except unless they're vegans, and we don't want them to get this one. And, there's all these different things that you can do. It's all possible. But there's a little hack. If you go into the course, there's a little hack that basically says all my emails or one per week. And I walk you through in Kit how to set that up. That might be a place to start. However, with you, Keith, honest to goodness, the way that I'm just going to cut to the chase. What I would do is I would have a General Forever series. I would have a seasonal broadcast that we'll talk about here in a second, general. And then I would have an Air Fryer Forever series. I would have those 3 things. If air fryer is that important to your blog and your business, then that's what I would do. So some people are going to be getting 2 a week, the generals, and some are going to get 3 a week. The air fryer person, I'm just going to run the risk that I'm serving them so well with the air fryer that they also like to make tacos sometimes outside of an air fryer, right? So that's how I would start with you, and then just kind of build from there. Your journey will reveal itself as you start thinking through the nuances that will naturally happen. But you run the risk at this point of really getting into the weeds and overthinking it a little bit, when probably the 80-20 rule would tell you just get a General Forever series out, get a general new seasonal broadcast out if you're not emailing, and then do all the rest. That's why this cookie cutter thing that I throw up here, I have to disclaim that it is very generic, but if you're just getting started, this is where I tell people just to start. Oh, yeah, it seems like there was something else I was going to say. All right. I'm thinking of doing a survey to know my audience's pain points better. Louisa, is a great thing to do. I will never tell you that that's a bad thing to do. I will tell you that it won't give you everything that you want. The reason for that, think about your own behavior. When you're on a mailing list that it's not like do or die. These are not your number one thing in life. How often do you answer a survey? The people that answer surveys are highly opinionated, and they're the vocal minority, and they can lead you astray. So put the survey out, learn your best, get the insights that you can. What I love about surveys is you get the language that they use when they talk about your stuff, and in words that we don't necessarily think about. And then keep that survey next to what you see with your insights in Google Analytics. That's telling you what I believe is the real story. That may not be who you want your audience to be when you grow up, but that's who your audience is now. So I turn into jerk Matt sometimes when people start talking about my audience. Okay, so I didn't have too much Diet Mountain Dew this morning, so I'm maybe a little bit more even keeled, so I can talk about it in less of a jerk mode. But most of my clients, and this is terrible to say, but they've received a few emails from a few grandmas that have made their recipes, and they call that their audience. My audience likes this. My audience likes that. They demand this. And really, we're talking about, if you added it all up, it's 50 emails that they got. When you're getting hundreds of thousands of page views a year, how could that be your audience? That may be the vocal audience that you're serving, but it's not the audience that you can serve. Did I say that nicer than Jerk Matt normally does? I felt better about myself when I said, but you get the point, I hope. And that's probably not true for any of you. Your audience is probably your audience. Built the survey and see how. Yes, great. And so Jessica shared it on email and social. See, that makes a lot more sense to me too, is that when you get it out a little bit broader, you get beyond just the people that have been in front of you to start with. Okay. Man, I am just rambling today. I got to move on here. So you get the idea with the Forever series, I hope. Any questions on that? The question I always get is how many emails should be in a Forever series, which is kind of a cute question because it's called a Forever series. So look, start with 2. Start with 5, Keith. Get 5 air fryer emails, and then add on to it. You want to know a quick hack on how to add in emails into your Forever series faster? Today, go back to your broadcasts that you have sent in the past that you feel good about, that you love. Find the ones that were evergreen, that worked well, and boop, pick it up, drop it into the series. Find the seasonal stuff that worked well. Pick it up, drop it into the series, and change Easter goodies to just goodies. Swap out a couple recipes, and it's probably ready to go. And then when they're in here, we're going to go like this. Oh, this one here, that one there. You know what? Now I've got this in here. I see that this should be better here. Right? Just move stuff around. But build something out to start, and then you can fix it later. Okay? You're better off sending an email than not sending an email every week. All right, all right, so what about seasonality? Well, seasonal stuff is very important. And people care about the weather. They care about current events. They care about holidays. Care about all those things. These things bring us together, especially related to food for sure. So I prioritize the seasonal over the Forever series, honestly. When you get to Christmas time or Thanksgiving, again, I'm talking to my food people here. I even suggest pausing your Forever series during those weeks. By the way, that is pretty easily done. See this right here? Sequence behavior under settings. Now it's paused. So everybody, if it's frozen where they were in the sequence, and then I don't know why I have to make that sound when I click that button. It's mandatory though. And here, now we're back active. You can, at Christmas and Thanksgiving time, if you were sending your Forever series on Mondays, pause your Forever series and send an additional seasonal email on that Monday. In food, you heard me say daily. I have clients that send daily. Not everybody. And I know that some of you are going, but just can trust me on this. You won't believe me. Nobody ever believes me on this. But take whatever if you're sending 2 a week, send a third. You will notice no difference in your unsubscribes. Your open rates will probably stay the same, and you'll probably enjoy the same number of clicks per email. What did that mean? That just means you increased your clicks via email by 33%, or however that math works. That's actually not right, is it? Anyway, 50%? Math, it's hard. Just try it. Now, this one is for Jessica. You can all thank Jessica for this. It probably won't even help Jessica. Jessica's more advanced than I am. It's like she's given this more thought. I'm going to drop this into the chat in case this helps one of you. Where'd the chat go? Okay. But basically, the gist of this is I just checked. It turns out they are going to do Halloween again this year. Yeah, it's happening. And on the calendar, January 1st is going to be New Year's Day again. You could even write a New Year's Day email today on July 30th. What's my point there? My point is, let's get ahead. Let's get going. Now, what I have put together with this, there you go, finally. If you want this, I've dropped it into the chat. And for those that are watching the recording back, it should be in the notes. Come up here, go File, Make a Copy, and modify this to be your own, okay? What you can do here is, and eras, you can do this too, it's just recipe focused, and just change this to articles, all right, or whatever. Up here, if we go to the date, when you change whatever that first date is, if you're going to do every Tuesday, just change that first date, boop, it changes all the rest of them, all the way down, okay? Now, you're going to want to modify this if you're doing 2 a week or 3 a week or whatever. I believe in you and your spreadsheet skills. You can get that done. But this is the idea. This is not that hard. Super Bowl. What do you have? Every year, they want to know Snacks, appetizers, finger food, cocktails. This is just what people want to know. And they're having parties. So you put this together. This is what I have. I have bacon bangles, nachos. I got pretzels. Okay. You drop in your URL here. And when the time comes for you to go make the email, it's all there. Or for you to hand it to an assistant, that person can go make the email. Hope that helps one of you. Notice what this is, what the reader is thinking about. This goes into my latest versus greatest concept. So I worked with Rachel from Rachel Cooks in 2019, and we put together an email, 7 super snacks for the Super Bowl. Every year since then, she has sent out the exact same email. Every year. No complaints. Nobody has ever written to her and said, Rachel, when did you originally publish those sliders? Because whether it was 10 minutes ago or 10 years ago, who cares? The reader needs it for the Super Bowl right now. So, latest versus greatest. For me, I want to focus on what my reader is thinking about. What is going to serve people the best? Just because you made tuna casserole doesn't mean it belongs in an email. Oh man, I'm terrible. Jerk Matt is back. He is back, especially when there are chocolate chip cookies to share. All right. It's all about what do you want? Do you want clicks? All right. So this is that. Does this help somebody with your broadcasts? Sending is serving. It's not spam if you're providing value. Okay. The minute that you go into stuff that people aren't going to care about, where the problem that you're solving is not clear, yeah, you're going to kind of see that. You're going to know. So you're going to stay focused. Now, one thing I've not talked about here is the layouts of these emails. It's probably worth mentioning real quick. You have seen this a lot if you're paying attention. People are experimenting with lots of different types of layouts. Images, no images. Roundup styles versus one email. You've even seen the mystery mails, is what I call them. Chinese recipe number 1, Chinese recipe number 2, Chinese recipe number 3, or some variant of that, which is this recipe saves me every time I have a group get together. This is my favorite dessert to make on a Saturday evening. That mystery aspect of it will drive clicks. So the reason I'm mentioning all of those is I use all of those, literally, depending on what my strategy is. I also try to mix them up. Generally, these are general platitudes here. I try to mix them up so that my audience doesn't get super exhausted by the mystery mails, for example. And Stephanie has experienced it. The mystery mails was 10 times the clicks. You'll see that because they have to click in order to see it. They've come this far by opening, and so in order to see it, they have to click. Am I recommending that you do that? I'm not recommending that you don't, but I'm not recommending that you do. I'm recommending that you figure out what works best for you and your audience and the message you want to share. With my done-for-you services clients, we are mixing up formats, and we're trying different layouts so that we don't provide email fatigue and drive unsubscribers. Okay? See, and Stephanie, that's interesting. See, Stephanie's got a kind of remember all the things we've been talking about. Images, no images. I think I told you on day 1 that leaving the images out but having the recipe title in will be better than having the recipe title and image together in terms of clicks. And you're seeing that if you put the pics but don't say what it is, that provides the mystery, but they still have to click. So it's all sorts of, this is why you want to test stuff, folks. All right? Don't just get hung up on or fall into a certain pattern. Your audience, your newsletter audience, they are happy to be served by you. All right, now let's get back to how do we grow the list? Because I hit the wrong button. All right, first, let's talk about things that are not a pop-up, all right, that you could be doing. So this, I don't know why this GIF takes forever to get to it. You'll see it here. Some of you have seen this spotlight effect. Um, this is doable with Slickstream, and I highly recommend doing this. You have it for free with Raptive. Um, it's a little bit of a challenge to get set up, but just follow their help docs and ask for help as you need it. But basically, if you created a quick start guide, this will outperform subscribe to my newsletter by a long shot. This is a I like this because it's not a pop-up, but it provides a little bit of that experience as it highlights it. Um, Mediavine calls it Spotlight Subscribe. Optin Monster calls it Attention Activation. I believe that NerdPress's Hubbub is working on this if they don't have it right now. For my food creators and non-food creators, this is a non-negotiable at this point. Save this recipe is like the easiest, best hack that we have. There's lots of ways that you can get this set up. It is a little bit technical, but Raptive also makes it available via Slickstream. You can get that done. Again, NerdPress with Hubbub Plus Pro or whatever it's called. They have it available too. I set it up for my done for you clients. So it's yeah. Anybody not know what this is? I hope that you've all seen this. If you haven't seen this, you'll see it on, just pick a prominent food blogger and go there and you'll see it. I started setting this up 3 years ago for my clients, and then everybody started doing it, and it's really worked quite well. Slickstream. This is another way that you can grow your list, is the original Slickstreamy. They have this little heart that you can click, and then it makes this list of favorites for their user. So they literally can create a library of their favorite articles or recipes from you. And make sure that you read through the documentation properly with Slickstream, because they can be added to your email list. I recommend, if you have this, that you create a separate, the equivalent of a quick start guide, but that is catered on somebody that just did this. Focus on my most saved recipes or something like that. And then you're connecting that user experience together. This is coming from Raptive. Some of you may have access to it already. But gated print is, if you are a recipe creator, in order to print the recipe, they have to subscribe to your newsletter. And that's what this does. I was originally very much against this user experience when Mediavine came out with their version a year ago of PrintPass. I have since got a little bit more knowledge and actual data as to what happens. The short version is that it is appearing to me that 50 to 75% of people who are signing up for this will open something in the first 30 days if you do it my way, which is I create a specific sequence for these people. And then the other thing that I do is, using Kit's visual automations, is I'll do an automatic delete if these people haven't opened anything in the first 45 days. Because when they sign up, they are not wanting email. This is like the one situation out of all these where they're not wanting it. But I need to talk about it. I was very much against it, but the numbers don't lie. People do go through this. It's just up to you whether or not you can stand for that to be the user experience. Some people say, nope, no way, I hate it. It makes me want to pull my hair out. I will never put my readers through that. Others are taking the tact of, look, you Googled the jalapeno quinoa raspberry stew, and here you are. And in order to go forward with me, you can make the recipe. It's all right there. But if you actually want to print this, you need to be on my newsletter. And that's the cost of doing business with me, because I know that if you're not likely to come back again, statistically speaking. So I want you on my newsletter so I have a chance to serve you going forward. So up to you I'm not going to tell you one way or another. I'm just trying to give you the facts as to what this is. And does it work? Yeah, it'll grow your list. It remains to be seen exactly how healthy that is. But the way that I'm asking the question, if you're okay with the user experience, why not try it? Run it for a bit, like a few months, you will get some complaints. And then deal with it, I guess. But if they turned in to be keepers, meaning if you're able to keep 30 to 50% in the long haul and you're automatically deleting the others, wouldn't that be worth it? It might be. The answer is maybe. So you have to decide. 30,000 subscribers, 20 from Print Pass. My suggestion there, Jessica, is that what you're not seeing yet, unless you haven't told me, is you haven't done the deep dive to find out how many of them are actually opening anything. So it's a pretty extensive process that I've been going through with my clients that are doing it to find out, because you have to segment these people separately. You have to pull it out. I even got together with Kit and gave them a list because I wanted to know long term how long, because I have one client that started on it 6 months ago. That's the longest that I have data for. And the numbers on them were after pruning and regular auto deletions, she was keeping about 35%, meaning they've opened anything in the last 90 days. So you want to figure that out because you're going to be paying for them otherwise. I don't know what platform you're using. If you're using one of the platforms where you have to pay by number of subscribers, and you also run the risk of impacting your other metrics, impacting your deliverability. And I'm really worried that a Print Pass or gated print person gets ticked and hits that spam button, which that's catastrophic for you. That is hard to get out of. You can, but when you get into Google's bad graces on Gmail, I hope you're all doing Postmaster tools, by the way. I probably should have a slide on that. If you don't, here's what you need to do. Postmaster.google.com. And then you're going to want to go through the different steps. When you add this, it's going to add what domain name do you use. You're going to enter this in, and then you're going to be checking your sender reputation and your spam rate. So this is the last 7 days, the last 120 days. So this had a spike. I don't know why. I've got to go look into that. That's not good. And then the other thing I'm looking at is domain reputation. So let's see this here. It's going to be low, medium, or high. You can see this one has worked its way from April. Back in April, was at medium, and then through some efforts on our part, we got it to high. When you get to low, your stuff is not being delivered. Gmail is saying you are spammy. And that is hard to get out of. It will take you months to get out of that. Anyway, how did I get on that? Anyway, that's the danger. One of the things I'm worried about, I guess, with Print Pass, or excuse me, with gated print when you do this. So that's my suggestions there. Back to let's actually finally get the pop-ups, shall we? I know you're just dying to know about pop-ups. Oh, here's one more. I don't do this myself, but I really love the implementation. This is Heidi from Foodie Crush. The only reason I haven't done this myself is just simply time. And this is an affiliate link to the program that she uses called Interact. But you've probably seen these quizzes before. You basically answer some questions, and then at the end it gives you a result, or it can email you the results. There's all sorts of different options. Some are more strict than others, that you have to give me your email address before I send it to you. Some people would just say, I'll email it to you and I'll show it to you right here. So that's that. All right, so pop-ups. Now, before we get going too far into this, and I will wrap up here shortly, let's just make an agreement. What I'm about to tell you is you got to do you, all right? I've been doing this for a long time for some of the biggest food bloggers, not just food, but biggest bloggers on the planet. And then what I'm about to tell you is exactly how I do it. And you will be told by very strong voiced and SEO people, they'll tell you something different, okay? And I understand why. The information that the SEO folks are going off of is very general. It is based off of stuff that has been published a long time ago, but it keeps getting repeated. We have to look back in time. The thing that SEO people will point to is that a pop-up is considered an intrusive interstitial by Google, or it could be. It's simply not the case, but that's how it is often talked about. So if you've ever heard those terms, intrusive interstitial, that's what we're talking about, pop-up. And so they will tell you things like you should not show a pop-up at all for user experience purposes. They will say you should not show a pop-up except on clicks after the first page. None of those are documented anywhere. They're basing it off of some guidance that Google gave in 2017, which was a repeat of the guidance they gave in 2016. Let's go back to 2016. What was happening back then? Well, we were about 2 years removed from the internet traffic being primarily desktop to moving to being primarily mobile. People were bringing over user experiences from desktop, applying them to mobile, and just letting it live. Do you remember, some of you are old enough to remember the overlays from Hotwire and Forbes that took over the entire screen that were awful on desktop, and then they were awfuler on mobile. And so that's where this intrusive interstitial guidance came. Google does not want to be the pop-up police. There are literally thousands of ways you can use pop-ups in e-commerce, in content, in customer service, and they do not want to dictate every single one of those. So what I'm about to tell you is based off of months of research and doing this over a long period of time. This is also what Raptive does, okay? But please, don't go pit me against an SEO type. I'm not going to engage. It just doesn't go anywhere. Plus, those people refer me business. I'd really not like to make enemies of them, all right? You do what you feel right about. All right, on pop-ups. And we are talking primarily about mobile here. It is safe to do pop-ups. Mobile is our biggest area of concern. So what we don't want to do is we don't want to make a pop-up that will overlay the entire screen. Okay, we want it to be about 1/3 of the screen max, which is why in the email on autopilot course, for those of you who use Kit, I provide a template, a custom code that I had to go make a CSS code that allows you to make a pop-up using one of their forms for free, okay, in a way that looks decent and accommodates these rules. Otherwise, just out of the box, I hate it. In fact, that's why these other pop-up tools are even on my radar, is because Kits was so bad that I refused to use it. But now that has changed. And I use almost exclusively Kits pop-ups, all right? You don't want to make it impossible to close. That little button in the corner, don't make it a little button. Make it obvious, make it clear what they can do. And if they touch anywhere on the screen, it should automatically close. This is the default for most things, but there are settings in things like OptinMonster where you can turn that off. Don't do that. Don't make it hard to interact with the content. What does that mean? Well, you want to be able, people to be able to see the content underneath, and it really has more to do with the timing, right? If I'm on a Disney Cruise related, I've Googled Disney Cruise tips, I land on Disney Cruise tips on Picture the Magic, and I'm going through this website and I'm seeing, wow, this is really good insight and really helpful. And then the pop-up happens after an appropriate amount of time, about 10 to 20 seconds, that says what to expect on your first Disney cruise. That's not annoying. That's actually helpful. It guides me to the next place. And then lastly, don't show pop-ups the user isn't going to care about. One of the biggest concerns that you probably all have is that you find pop-ups annoying yourself. Well, my answer to that is don't be annoying. If I'd gone to Picture the Magic, I land there and immediately says, subscribe for updates. Super annoying. But after I've engaged for about 10 seconds and I can see that it's really good stuff, that can be very, very helpful. Okay? So that's basically how to do pop-ups, the short version. It is safe to do so. None of my clients have ever experienced any sort of technical penalty, but I totally understand in today's world of that Keith outlined that you might be concerned. So you've got to do what works best for you and what feels right. Should you not be on Kit, or you want to try a different pop-up software and your platform doesn't have a real great one, most of them don't. The reason for that is that they didn't set out to build pop-up software. They set out to build email platforms. And so the pop-up tends to be a bolt-on. But anyway, this is the budget one that will do all the stuff that I talked about. Each one of these are affiliate links, by the way. Convert Pro, I used to use this more frequently. here you got copycat recipes. Here you've got, and this is what these can kind of look like. You can have, desktop versions that have the image and mobile versions that don't have the image. They also have these other features here, like info bars across the top, little swoopy slider things that come in and what have you. So that one's a good starter place to start. I have a tutorial on how to set up a pop-up with Convert Pro in the email and autopilot course. The problem with it is it doesn't have very good analytics. So that's my beef with that one. OptinMonster is awesome. It is the granddaddy, the OG of pop-up software. They've been around a very long time. They have a ton of options, a ton of templates. The problem is they're the most expensive, and you might have to take out a second mortgage on your house in order to use them. But for some of you, it might make sense because of how you monetize or how you make money or what you're trying to sell. So, but here's some examples of that. And then remember that attention activation, they have those types of features along with it too. So that's OptinMonster. That's actually what Raptive uses for luminaries that they do some work for, is that they like OptinMonster a lot. It's just, I prefer the free of the kit versus that. I really do like ConvertBox. When I'm not doing Kit, I am usually doing ConvertBox. It is in between the two in terms of pricing. I think it's like $250 for a license, $500 for like bigger blogs, and it's like you can use it on lots of domains. So you buy the license one time. This is what this looks like. The reason I like this so much is that it is super easy with the A/B testing. You can A/B test every single element on here. And it is the easiest software I've ever used for the A/B testing side of things. So that's why I really like it. One of the things I discovered, I put this picture of our family against the picture of just the ship, and I tested it. And guess which one? That's right, that stupid ship without our family, and it crushed us. I don't know what it is. Is it my spindly legs? Is that what it was? It turns people out they don't want to get on that ship with us. I don't know. Anyway, I thought for sure it'd be us because we're so cute. But turns out this is why you test. So anyway, when I've gone over time, my apologies. There you have it. Those are your primer on pop-ups and forms. If anybody has a form that they want me to look at, I'm happy to do that and give you that critique. We can go over any of those tomorrow if you want to bring them. I'll set aside time to do that. With that, your homework assignment is go launch what you've been building, all right? If you're ready for the next step, go write 5 emails for your Forever series. Wouldn't that be great? A new subscriber comes in, goes through a quick start guide, and then graduates to 5 evergreen Forever series emails. That'd be fantastic. All right. Any questions? Just unmute. Otherwise, get out of here, and we will see you tomorrow. See ya.
Thanks so much. See you
Yeah,
tomorrow.
thank
All right.
you.
See ya.
Thank you.